This is a fan play of Ars Magiva 5th edition. We're starting season 2 of our chronicle here. So the year is now the middle of 1198. We are down south on the White Cliffs of Dover, where a group of young Magi have, as of 6 months ago, set up a new covenant and fronted as a trading company. In the mundane world, King Richard is off in Normandy, trying to reclaim his lost castles from the French. But here today, some new arrivals have come to visit the Covenant, and the Magi have welcomed them in and to meet them in the council chamber. So, shall we go round and you can describe your character and what you're currently wearing as you enter the room. So, off you go, Solon.
I suggest we start with a pre-existing Magi.
Yep. Okay. So my name's Solon. I am playing Lucius ex Miscellanea, House Tempestrious as far as he's concerned. He is a son of a tailor. He has finished his apprenticeship like these other mages. He's got quite an affinity for air magic, also some Fey heritage. He tends to wear a hat. It's not immediately obvious to people who don't know him, but if his hat ever comes off, you will see pointed ears. Yeah, and that's what I got. He's probably just wearing good merchant attire.
Okay. Lee?
Yep. So I'm playing Prider Eye of House Mernida. He is a tall, lanky man from far northern England. And he's probably wearing just basic scholar's outfit, specializing in animal magic.
Okay. John?
I'm John. I'm playing Micah of House Flambeau. Again, was raised in the north with the other two existing members of the Covenant. He is a quiet, unassuming man, plainly dressed, vaguely like a scholar, but it's very plain, unassuming thing. He is a destruction specialist, though he tries not to be too flashy with his magic because he doesn't like to show off.
Elaine?
So I'm playing Genevieve de la Orient. She is from Aquitaine, though latterly probably the northern part of Normandy. She is from the House Bonasagas. She is wearing very nice, very high quality clothes. She has long red hair. She doesn't have much of the, or any of the kind of feelings you would associate with a person with a gift. She also has a fox cub of a fox that nips around her heels.
Okay, so obviously I'm Luke. I'm playing Aldred, who is from the northern Germany, near the Rhineland. So he probably appears fairly on the thin side and wearing completely the opposite kind of clothing to his companion. So chalk and cheese in kind of how they look. He's quite drably dressed. Although he's not dirty in any respect, he does seem to be quite dusty for some unknown reason. And is likely somewhere on the line to be carrying an ornate but very mundane stave.
Okay. So I'm assuming all your characters can speak perfectly good Latin, because you're civilized, so you can obviously converse. Your different regional native accents do show through, so it's quite obvious that we've got someone from some part of France, someone from Germany, and the others all speaking a strange Northern English accent to varying degrees. Okay, would any of the past players like to describe what the council chamber looks like? of this covenant.
Oh boy. John, did you have plans for this?
No, just I put a description for the library, but not the council chamber.
Okay, that's fine.
Are we still above ground?
Yes, we haven't done any excavations. I was imagining the council chamber would be on the first floor above the library, so it
Okay.
has a nice sea view. Probably looking at the picture that Nathan provided, probably on the near end, that wooden bit with a nice big window on it.
Nice
You can
windows.
actually-
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's go for that. And you saw there's there's a big big round table.
Yep.
And there's high back chairs with armrests. And this is obviously, I mean, generally it's a room kept for slightly more formal meetings. It's not
Looks more like a merchant meeting hall than a mage hall.
Yes. Okay. So the characters who newly arrived, I mean, obviously you took ship across the channel. It's not far. I mean, you can just about see the other side on a clear day, but the trip can take a surprisingly long while because it's very rough seas. It's quite notorious for that. But you made it across, and you were struck on your way in by a glistening sight which you've probably heard of but not seen before: the shining great white cliffs. Quite a landmark. It's a very powerful effect on the psyche. To Englishmen, it's the first sign that they've come home. To foreigners, it's a sign you've come to a strange land. You would have come to Dover Harbour. Dover is a pretty small little town at this point, but on the rising land on the side of the town, there's an absolutely colossal castle. I mean, your characters may probably have seen decent European castles before. This is probably the biggest castle you've ever seen. There are walls upon walls, thick, huge walls. This is clearly this sort of castle would cost the king's ransom.
And it would cost 2 king's ransoms to repair.
You have heard about this new covenant, and you managed to make your way up to it. So the covenant is the townhouse shown in the picture, which is up on the top of the cliffs, not stupidly close to the edge. There's a few farm animals and other holdings and vegetable pasture things around it. You've presented yourselves and been treated with due deference and shown into the council chamber. So off you go.
Out of character, just to clarify. Sorry. So the 3 of us are so Lucius, Prider. I keep getting your name wrong, man. And John's character, mage name, please. It's been a little while. Micah, thank you. The 3 of them are currently we've been here setting up our stuff for the last 2 seasons, and these other 2 mages are arriving as guests. Or are they arriving in company of Micah?
David, no, well, I was hoping you just discussed the character. They've arrived as guests, but they may well discuss that they're looking for a covenant.
Okay, I just want to be clear. Did we know they were coming? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, would they not have sent letters ahead or anything? Because it seems weird just to turn up on the doorstep saying, "Can we live here, please?"
No. Okay, sorry, it's not been clear. Okay, they haven't sent. Okay, so because it is quite arduous across the channel. Yeah, if they send a letter, they would have to wait weeks for it to arrive. What's happened is they've come into Stonehenge looking for a tribunal, looking for a covenant to settle in, and they've currently turned up as guests and will probably want to discuss the matter in character with you.
Okay.
They're not turning up saying, "Can we join?" They're turning up saying, obviously, as Hermetics, you expect to offer reasonable hospitality when other Hermetics have come through your area. That's good etiquette in the order. I'm not sure it's a completely formal obligation, but it's certainly expected that if you're in the area of a covenant, you can turn up there and they'll give you a bed for the night.
Good.
That's just out of obvious reasons that's expected. So anyway, I thought you just
okay.
Just go ahead and discuss it.
What time of day would you guys like to say you arrived? If that's up to us.
Shall we go for afternoon, like a couple hours before dinner?
Cool.
Mhm.
So perfect time for me to have a snack in character.
I presume if we have food here, it'll be on a sideboard. I would not.
Yes.
You wouldn't dirty the main table with food, but there'll be a sideboard there, I imagine, with some food.
Sure.
So Pride or I kind of walks up humbly to the both of them and greets them and says, "Hello, how are you two? Welcome to our covenant."
Bonjour. Apologies for turning up so unannounced. As you know, crossing the channel can be unexpectedly difficult and unpredictable.
That's what I've heard. Yes.
It is a lovely passage, though. Brief though it is.
Brief if you were lucky. It can take people weeks sometimes.
Well, brief is a relative perspective, I guess.
My companion and I, though we have not met for very long, have both travelled quite considerably longer distances in our time.
Ah,
It's always nice to reach the safety of land again.
Yes. I went on a bit of a tour, has to be said. I'm quite glad to have met someone so gracious as yourself to point me in the direction of the higher etiquette of various places. She certainly pulled me out of a few misunderstandings along the way. I've spent most of my life in various workshops, so I don't have all the finer points quite down just yet.
Well, what brings you to Stonehenge?
For myself, I've travelled quite a long way to the east. However, I've never travelled west. I've recently completed my gauntlet and wish to see what was out in this direction.
oh, lots of hermetics, lots of people going back and forth, arguing with each other about policies and procedures, internecine feuds. Could be worse. It could be Ireland.
We were one of the scholars from our previous covenant spent a morning describing the tribunal of Hibernia. It has some very, very peculiar traditions, it sounded. So we decided that we didn't wish to travel that far west.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Micah. Didn't they say something about they encourage their first-year graduates to run around raiding various covenants with no reprisals?
There was a grey area in their peripheral code that, a year prior to their gauntlet, the princes are let loose upon the land, and because they've not yet sworn the oath, they have rather large leeway in what they can get away with, supposedly.
So you don't know.
We've never been there.
House Rubicon have a similar but much more civilized way of doing it. They do what is known almost as a grand tour of, nice sites.
Well, I think if the Grand Tour was armed with, shield grogs, weaponry, destruction, that's the impression we got, at least.
It sounds more Viking than what one would expect of a reasonably civilized Latin, such as.
I don't think it's civilized, to be honest.
That is not part of England.
No.
Okay. There's a knock at the door. Someone comes in who some of you will recognise. For those who don't, it's a lady in her mid-20s. Obviously looks Jewish, but he's obviously and looks quite at home here. sorry to interrupt. There's a smiles at Lucius. There's another guest at the gates. A red cap. Should we show him in?
Please do.
Yes, we should. Thank you, dear.
There's way.
Sorry. Right. While we wait for the red cap, Aldred. Sorry, Luke. Is that your pronounce your character's name?
Yep.
Aldred. What of yourself?
Well, as I said, I've spent most of my life, particularly my apprenticeship, in the workshop of my parents. So when I finished my gauntlet, I decided to at least see some of the world before I ended up in another workshop somewhere else. Sorry?
If you don't mind me asking, I'm trying to place your accent. Where, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, most of it will be from the northern area of Germany and the Rhineland. From that's where I grew up and where I was born. But as I said, some of the finer points some French may have leaked in somewhere. I've been learning their language. Turns out Latin doesn't get you everywhere. But yes, as I say, I've been trying to explore a little bit. And that's why I ended up here on the advice of my parents, eventually just taking a detour through France.
So are you planning on just are you two planning on just exploring the Stonehenge Tribunal, or are you looking for a place to settle down?
Well, speaking personally, I'd be looking to settle down somewhere.
I haven't really considered it, to be honest.
Okay, so into the room comes the fellow you can see here. Obviously not Coney Spear, but he's still wearing his armor. He's fit. I mean, he's quite young. He's in his late teens, but he is surprisingly big. He's a good 6 footer with broad shoulders. So for around here, that's extremely large.
Oh yeah.
He is wearing his red cap, which marks him as a messenger of the order. And Salve Sedalis.
Salve.
Offer him a seat and point him to the food if he isn't at home.
So,
what brings the red cap to our covenant?
But I don't believe I've met some of you before. I'm Little William of Mercer House.
I'll give him a nod.
I'm Aldred of House Vididius.
Oh, you're okay. Nice. See, I have a message addressed to your whole covenant. Traditionally, I would read it out in your council chamber. Would now be a good time, or
Do you wish us to leave us? This is your covenant business?
I couldn't hear that, by the way.
Do you wish us to leave as you seem to have covenant business? We would hate to interrupt.
I'm going to look at the other two and just shrug, like, up to you guys.
We're nothing to hide. We've only been here less than a year, so we're still.
Oh, probably a declaration of war or something.
We're so positive, Lucas.
I try.
Little William, please continue.
okay? He starts opening up his pack and things. There's this other letter as well. He looks around. Would you be Priderai?
Yes. And Priderai walks up and.
Okay. Well, I have a letter. I have a letter addressed directly to yourself. So I'll send you the link in Facebook to the letter. He hands the letter over.
Read quickly.
And here we are. Takes out a letter, and there's also a small wrapped bundle with it. Opens it up. Salve Sodalis of Far Horizons. I trust everything is proceeding well for your new covenant. I send this note with a small parcel. Plant it in the earth near your covenant outside the Aegis. Decidius of Voluntas. And he.
Did he look well when you saw him?
Oh, I didn't collect the letter myself. One of my comrades did.
Ah.
The McCree of the tribunal, they have a central house in the Coventry. So,
Makes sense. Oh well.
Pryderai begins unfastening the letter. It says, I suppose this must be for my parent.
Oh dear.
Lucius, you were on good terms with Sidious. I'll leave that package to you.
He's going to take it, hold it under the table, slowly unwrap it.
I think he said it was outside. Didn't he say it was outside the covenant?
The plant it in the field outside the Aegis.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just taking a look at it right now without revealing to you guys what
He
it
wants
is.
to make sure it's not stolen or anything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to freak out the new people.
Okay, so you unwrap, like, there's some cloth and some string bound around it.
Yeah, he very carefully unwraps it.
You unwrap that. There's a wooden box with like a sliding lid.
Slowly slides. Wait. He said he was sending a parcel, and he said to bury the parcel. I'm not opening the box. I know how to follow his instructions.
I've put a letter in the group chat. He's handing it over.
Oh, sure. He'll take a look at that. He'll since it's just a box, he'll set the box on top of the table. But he's got a hand on it to make sure it doesn't open or anything. Where is that link of yours? There you go. Okay, I'm reading it.
Cool. I will.
That's the Sidious one. Yep.
I will thank Mr. William.
Just for Luke's benefit, I'll give you this because your knowledge of the house. You've heard of this Decidius they're talking about. He is one of the possibly the most prominent necromancer in your house.
Right.
That's a bit of a poor reputation generally, but again, Nathan, I will thank Little William for his services and offer him the hospitality of the Covenant.
Oh, thank you, Sodalis.
Any other news on the road in your travels?
I think it's a moment. They say the king is still overseas. There was some talk about John had captured a group of Frenchmen. Some knights, apparently, he found in England. Probably up to mischief.
How does your house fare well in these lands?
Mercer House is very comfortable. Thank you. Yes. I'm having to get used to being called Little William now. We've got a new recruit, and he's even taller than I am.
I thought it was just some irony amongst your house, but that's impressive if he is even has a greater stature than yourself. You are no Wilton Flower. Miss William, you're more than welcome to stay, enjoy the food, or again, you have the hospitality of the Covenant. We will continue our discussions.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Was that you telling to go away or not?
No. I'm saying he's more than welcome to stay if he chooses. We're having just.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll gladly accept the hospitality. I'll leave the morrow after next, so you have time to write any other letters for me.
Thank you.
Would you all like me to draft a letter of appreciation to Decidius?
Yes,
Or should we
that'll be-
wait and see what it does first?
No, just right back. It's always good to.
Okay, assume he comes up with a letter. I'll write it out if you want, but it's just a generic thanks.
Right,
Thanks, boy.
stick it in the blue book. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Right. So, Micah will go at this point, and he'll go to one side of the room, and he'll sit by where the food is, and he'll get a decent-sized chunk of a plate of food. He's a small man, but he gets a big plate of food. And
Is
he'll
there
sit
any,
on the side.
is there any bacon? No, there is no bacon in this household.
No bacon allowed in this house.
But yeah, so Michael will sit to one side, not on the actual council chamber itself, and start eating and going the conversation. He's not got a mouthful.
So wait. Which houses are you two from?
Verdi-
Odysseus and
Buonasagas.
Bonasag. Oh, okay.
Oh, we met an elder Belisagus at our old covenant at one point. What was his name?
Maximilius, a rather well-respected Bonsagus.
Yes, that was an encounter. He looks like he's refraining from saying anything else because the character about fell asleep in that conversation.
He gave us, when we were apprentices, he gave us lessons on the art of dim and the metaphysics of auras and realms.
I would say that you are exceptionally fortunate. The rumours do abound that his lectures can be somewhat dry.
Oh,
Yes.
you have no idea.
Yeah. Lucius was nodding off on occasion. Thankfully, the Honourable Man and the Honourable Sedalis did not notice. And Pry almost knocked me unconscious with a bout of Katarman in there as well.
Oh, that was fun.
You
so good.
Yes, all three of us were apprentices to Voluntas, which is a covenant in the north of these lands. It is summer, virgin on autumn, perhaps. That is a description of power.
So, what particular things I don't suppose it's something you would want to share necessarily, but what arts do you find most interesting?
For myself, I prefer Interlego and
Imagina?
Anagana.
Whereas I much prefer Rigo with and Herbum is my preferred other art if I must speak of two.
I'm going to look over at Priderai and Mike and be like, wait a minute, remind me, did either of you even do anything with Amaganam?
I know an Amaganum smell.
No, I probably shouldn't have looked at it.
I know a little.
Yeah.
And do either of you know anything about Urbom?
I know a little bit.
No.
Rigo's quite common in your house, isn't it, Wilfred?
It was among those I knew, but I can't say for sure over the whole house.
Yourselves? Do you have similar interests? Or?
I am a flambeau. That's the character. I can't remember the guy's name.
Oh, honey.
Yeah.
You can't remember your own character's name? Wait, what?
No, the first apprentice of flambeau. That's the line. That's Aprimor. There you go.
He's bad. He's not that bad.
I'm a flambeau.
Okay, understand it.
of the lineage of Aprimor.
Did you see the stuff I wrote in your doc?
Who?
Elaine.
You look at the doc you linked. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you read it.
Right, okay, fine.
Yes, Elaine did read it. I had to show her how to work Google Doc. It's not something we use
Okay,
regularly.
sure, that's fine. Now they've mentioned Maximianus, you've definitely heard of him. Yes, he's from the other side of House by the Sagas, the heavy researcher side. Yeah, he's noted as a corpus specialist. Very old, so not in the extreme. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a flambeau of the line of Aptamore, so Perdo is my speciality, and I have a broad selection of forms to support it, but none of them are particularly well developed. I passed my gauntlet a couple of years ago, but as a guest then of Voluntas, I was required to support the Covenant and only had limited access to their library, which is understandable.
I am of House Merida, and sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go, Lee.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I am of House Merida, and I mostly specialize. I know a lot of stuff with animal magic and muto magic, with a couple other things I know as well. But
In which case, may I introduce you to Rue? And a small top kind of looks off.
So, Sedalis, how are you finding life down here in Dover? It's quite away from my usual route.
It's warmer, much warmer than it was up past York this winter.
This is warm.
Yeah.
yes, it's not very a lot colder in the north.
Je ne comprends pas.
Yeah, there is. Dover's actually very small, the actual town. I haven't ventured to Canterbury or to London since we moved down here, though we have been to London before on other business a few years ago. William, where is your usual route? And you don't mind me asking.
Let's see. I often end up trying to find the Cemented Covenant, which, as you can imagine, how difficult that is, and Scholar Pythagoras in Cambridge.
I presume then we'll be seeing you more often than not.
Probably
your house.
I'll end up being yes, your red cap. I expect to come by maybe every other month.
Fantastic, thank you.
We'll make sure to tell the cook what your favorite meal is.
Yeah, his mother-in-law is quite a good cook.
And so is my wife, for that matter.
Is it? Oh, okay. I thought she was. Oh, okay. Your mother-in-law's in the library. Sorry.
Yeah, library person.
Yeah. By the way, pro tip: mages don't get married often. Anyways, to finish off the three, he basically says, for myself, I mostly work with Oram. I have a few other little things I study, a little bit of Aquam, a little bit of Amaganem. I try to keep an equal interest in all five techniques. Did I get it right this time?
Yes, you did. Well done.
Thank you. Yes.
I was going to say, if you want me to get you a clip around the ear, I can.
But just gonna kind of I'm looking at the box, finger on the thing, should I open it? Should I not? Should I open? Should I not?
At this point, one of the scribes will come and grab Micah and sort of whisper to him, and he'll excuse. It's like, I'm just going to go down to the library a moment. I'll be back in 5. And I'm going to wait for the mic for 5 minutes. I need to have dinner. So I'll be back.
Yep.
There you go.
You know, I don't know whether that anything in that box will harm you, but I think that curiosity might just kill you.
I mean, there are other things that could do it too.
Surely your friend wouldn't send you anything dangerous or deliberately
Not in his
harmful.
opinion, anyway.
What he defines as inconsequential could very well be dangerous. I don't think he would send anything that would explode or anything, but
It might change your perspective on life, no?
it might. I'm gonna do some. Can I do some Intellego? DM?
Yes. Would you like a Vim,
Okay.
probably?
Yeah, I don't have Vim, but I have Intellego.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
magic ore here, remember? Or is there? I would assume.
I don't think there's any other Intellego I could do in this case. I don't even have Intellego Urbom to look through it. Could I still do that though if I have enough Intellego?
You can try. You could try with anything.
I'll try. I'll try looking through the wood of the box. Intellego Urbom.
Could he not
Okay,
use
so-
his Intellego spell he has to look through a wall? Because
That's a wall though. This is. It's very hard to define that as a tiny room. Besides, it'd be dark in there.
Besides, that's a town spell, so it works on.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Intellego.
Anyway, so what do I have to roll for this then?
Well,
1d10 plus-
to make a bam to look through it.
Okay, so 1d10 plus my
Yeah.
Intellego of 5.
Yep.
What else goes into it?
Herbam. So Intellego, Herbam, Stamina, +3 for the aura.
5, 3, and 1 for stamina. That's a 9. Okay, I'll see what I get. I don't think I'm going to get much. And I have to, since it's a spontaneous, I have to reduce it further.
By half at the end.
Oops. Not too bad. Looks like I got 15 divided by
2.
So that's a 7.5 down to a 7. Is that enough to actually look through the wood?
Not sure. Just checking the guidelines.
I botched the spell. I enter Twilight. It's happened before.
You've never entered Twilight, but yes.
No, I came very close
What was
when I
this-
botched that 8 dice roll.
Did you say you had a spell that looks through walls?
I have a spell that allows me to, by touching the exterior of a room.
What's it called? What page number?
Oh, let me look it up. It's
Just look
listed.
at- it's
That's
just
one of the
like-
ones you put in here, so it does have the page number.
Yes.
It's called Prying Eyes. It is Intellego Amaginum, level 5.
Oh, it's the Magnum. Oh, actually, yes. That was
That's Prying Eyes. And it says page number 144.
Touch inside of rooms, 90 touchables. Actually, you can probably, yeah.
So this is the equivalent thereof, but I'm using Urbom.
Actually, no, fair. You could probably use that spell. I'll not use that spell. That's fine. Well, let's go. Works. Yeah, fine. Okay. Inside, you see a skeletal hand.
His eyes widen slightly, and he's like, "Yes, I'm glad I did not open the box. I will leave it in there."
So we're still going to plant it, aren't we?
Yes,
Right,
but let's wait until Micah gets back. We can take our 3 guests here, and have them watch. I don't suppose it's anything crucial.
Well, I'm guessing from your response, what you found wasn't a packet of seeds.
Oh no, nothing like that. He has something of a black thumb.
So
Just
how,
the one?
So how are things the Covenant? Are you all settled here?
Relatively. My lab is set up at least, and seems the others have as well.
Yeah, I finally finished mine recently. Took an awful long time to get everything in order.
I couldn't hear that if you were talking. Still can't hear. I'm guessing she's talking to
I
John.
think she's talking to John. Yeah.
Okay.
Apologies, Tom popped in to get mugs, so I was just giving him an update.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, yes. I mean, the view is very beautiful from this Covenant.
You don't feel intimidated being so close to a royal castle?
Maybe a little.
I got a question. DM, if I open the window, lean out the window, and whistle, can I watch the wind go across the channel?
Yes.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
He just goes over to the window, opens the window, leans out, enjoys the breeze.
Okay.
Actually, is there a breeze? That's a good question, DM. Is there a breeze?
Yes, there's some breeze, certainly.
Good. Okay. I'm going to make that roll now.
Okay. So, just for clarity for new players, so what he did earlier, you would have seen him clearly cast Hermetic spell vocals and hand gestures. You could clearly see he's doing an interlego spell. What he's doing now is he's gone to the window and he's just whistling a tune.
No gestures, no chanting in Latin.
Does he do that often?
I barely got even a breeze.
He does seem to like the whistle on occasion.
Micah walks back into the room. Where is Sol at the moment?
At the
Lucius?
open window, sticking his head out, enjoying the breeze, and whistling.
All right. I walk in. Micah just gives him a wary look and then goes and returns to his food, basically, and gives a nod. Apologies, everyone.
When the both of you crossed the channel, was there anything of interest on the trip?
The boat was solid. Very interesting. Nice construction. Not too busy it didn't drift too much. It seemed quite in order.
You may have to redefine the term of interest when talking to my companion. Across the channel, His Majesty is laying siege to, I'll give it French town.
Okay. Yeah.
And drop any kind of gossip about, any of the Hermetic stuff. Probably nothing of consequence, just
Normandy is violent, but just not as violent as Ireland, but it's kind of similar.
No, Normandy is a hyper sophisticated.
Yeah, but the Normandy Tribunal is still violent. My brother is.
They have tournaments. They're civilized.
No. They have a tournament. They have legalized raiding.
Yes,
that's true.
It is legal to raid other covenants for Monday.
Actually, I'm not sure I'm not sure they've had that ruling yet because we're 20 years early.
Fair. Where is Whistle Up the Wind in the book, by the way?
It's in the house. House of Hermes for.
Yeah, House of Hermes Societies towards the back end because
the societies.
Societies. Yeah.
Okay, Elaine, if you I don't know if you want to answer that question or not. There is some recent news you've heard in your doc.
Yeah, I signed it.
So I did expect that question and did give you stuff.
Unfortunately, on our tablets, we can only have one dock open at a time.
Oh, right. Ah, okay. Whistle at the wind. Yeah, I've got it. It's like page.
Yeah, I barely accomplished a light breeze this time. First time would have done nothing.
I'm assuming that you've heard about the new pope.
I don't take much interest in the matter of the church.
Still looks slightly okay. This is a very strange.
If you look straight, you'll be like a case of, I don't really care. Lucius is now Jewish, and Bry has interest in the Fae, which don't really mesh well with the church. Is that fair, Bry?
I suppose I try and keep friendly with the church, but it's
Actually, I would have gotten a 9 because I forgot to include my stamina. I just used the whistle up the wind score. So when he actually did succeed in creating wind, it was a moderate wind, enough to affect the accuracy of arrows. Yeah.
my mother always told me to try and appease the church when you can, but yes, I'm not extremely interested in it.
Dealt with enough of that crowd.
I'm changing the subject completely. Whistle at the window often?
To be honest, be thankful it's just that at the moment.
At this point, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Out of character, you're really not telling the Covenant.
Sorry.
Just putting it out there, you're a big bunch of weird.
Little one of the smiles. Stonehenge, remember, is the home of House X Miscellanea, so there are a great variety of different traditions.
As a thinker, it would be vaguely interesting to you, but
To be honest, if I had such a view, I'd try and see it as often as I could. Though, to be fair, I probably wouldn't be whistling at it. I'd just be observing in peace. But, you know, each to their own.
And at this point, the wind starts picking up.
William's thinking for a moment. There's not many members of House Bonasagus in the tribunal. Thinking about it, I know another Vitius in Cementi. Cementi's in a strange covenant. It's based in a group of wagons. They're mobile. It's very hard to find. But I know a Jonas of House Vitius there. He's a blacksmith.
Oh, right. It's always good to know another.
Makes very good items, I hear.
How does the Ritcap network keep up with the mobile covenant?
With difficulty.
So you've not long been established then?
no, we travelled down before midwinter.
From
York. Well,
York.
Voluntas is a few days north of York, so
I,
that's where we grew up.
I've heard of York. It apparently has it is a large city, yeah?
It was until we visited London, yes. I would consider it a large city. It does have the York Minster, which is a grand church, which we visited on Thursday. Other reasons.
Well, she'll look at the others and kind of go. I would assume not for the main one, no.
Scholars were there. We had the scholars there. There's a church school attached to it. But yeah. So yeah, we came down before midwinter, but this was the first casting of the Aegis. And we have, well, I think we've all just been setting up our labs. Lucius Fry, I think that's what you said you were doing, wasn't
Well, that and, in your words, find some damned vis. He didn't have much time for that, to be fair.
We've been relatively successful. Out of character, Nathan, have we already registered those sources with the red caps, or do we need to do that with William here? That's kind of a major issue.
Let's say you could do it with William now if you want to.
Okay, good point. Go for it.
Yeah. Oh, this, of course. William, we've discovered some sources we'd like to register with the red caps.
Very well. He takes out some writing materials.
There is a stone within Dover, the town of Dover itself. I'll give a description of the street on.
Yeah.
That is a source of vim that we will harvest each year.
Okay.
There's also a...
hang on. He gives you a slightly puzzled look. Okay, so this is it's a standing stone in the middle of the town that generates.
No, it's not standing stone. It is merely a stone.
Okay. Oh, okay. He's amending what he's writing. That generates wimwees. Okay, that's. Okay, yeah, he records it. He looks like surprised and confused, but okay.
There's also a chalk cave along the cliffs. He gives a rough description of where, etc., or whatever, however he's supposed to do it. There's water accumulating in the cave. If you gather it, it's aquamvis.
Yeah, okay. You can go down.
There's also a yearly event with the bird, a bird of the region that drops feathers that gives Arum this. A bluebird.
Bluebird. Okay, yeah, there's that all down. It doesn't seem particularly. He doesn't seem surprised by the other sources you mentioned. They all seem to make sense to him.
It's more the random stone thing.
There is rockfall at the base of the cliffs. That is Teram source. Describes where on the cliffs it is. So that gives Teram.
Okay, yeah, he records all that.
Yeah, that's what we've found so far.
Okay, well, I'll be sure to follow up back.
Thank you. By the way, I must ask, would you prefer to be addressed as Little William or just William? What's your preference?
Oh, I suppose William is fine. I say they started calling me that just to avoid confusion. When Great William is around.
I'm not sure that the confusion, it may cause the confusion within your own domain, but not outside of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and apart from that, the covenant where we grew up sponsored us, and so we have bought into a cross-channel trading company. Bought into operate that over. So,
it's a good location.
Interesting. Lucius is more of the expert when it comes to that side of things.
It is interesting that there's not really much in the way of other hermetics down this way.
Why is that? Are the people just not spread, or is there no interest, or?
William, any legends among the tribunal? Why this area is so sparsely populated by hermetics?
He thinks a moment. I'm not sure why. I mean, it's pretty far from the major cities, and it's pretty close to Canterbury, which would put some people off.
Yeah.
Oh
well.
I mean,
we're here now. So.
I will say I would quite like to visit Canterbury sometimes. It seems, tales are spread of thought it was gorgeous because
we've not been here a year yet, so we've had very little opportunity to explore sort of further afield. Eldred, by the way, you said you grew up in a workshop. As a Viditius, what is your craft, man?
Shipwright. So I've obviously not being an apprentice. I didn't work on a full ship, but I've crafted many aspects of different parts of the ship. Whether it's my personal favourite really is the prow. I've got to be honest. I could spend hours going about how much I enjoy that, but I've been told that's not the most interesting part of a ship for many people, unfortunately. But yes, I do enjoy anything that involves wood. Really, that's been. Although my craft is a shipwright, and how I've my main skill, for example, anything takes my fancy. For example, this Dave. Something I've been working on whilst been travelling. It's something that's easy and small and just something to while away some of the evenings.
Okay. You while away the evenings with your long hardwood. You keep... Sorry. You can help that. Yeah, I know.
We're all talking inside chat, by the way.
But
her name is Genevieve.
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 Thank you.
Oh, as in the Queen.
Yes, as in, let's just say the tales of Arthur and his knights and courts are ever popular in Aquitaine. And my mother got to choose.
No, I heard about that. Didn't they find a body a year or two ago?
I have heard, and I will admit there is some compulsion to, head that way.
Wow. Yeah, Glastonbury's an interesting place. I visited there once. It's there's the Black Monks have an abbey there, like they do here, I think. Think about it. But no, they found the body of Arthur and Guinevere a few years ago. But it's and yeah, ever since then, there's a lot more pilgrims have been visiting. But how could he looks like he's struggling to how to put this. I could, even as a humble man, I could feel the sanctity of that place.
And I would be most appreciative if you could furnish me with directions. A sketch of a map.
It's a far away from here. I suppose your best bet will be to take a ship around the south coast to Bristol, and then it's not too far a walk south of there. But it's some, I don't know, a good distance of travel.
I was going to say, out of character,
Yeah.
Genevieve used to be from Jerusalem, so
Yes.
This is kind of...
Yeah, sure, but most people have a different sense of distance. Yes.
Mike is continuing to dig into food. He seems to be putting away a lot.
I'm just trying to ignore the bad manners of not sitting with your guests. So.
I mean, there's good. Yeah, it's gonna take him a moment. He's gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll be right back." And he goes to go fetch some food, to request some food from the kitchen. For everyone, not just him.
Okay, shall we? If people run out things to talk about, let's step the seat forward. So you sit down. You sit down to dinner, and small talk happens. Do you Magi? Do you take dinner alone, or do you eat with the companions? Generally,
we haven't really defined the companion. My companion certainly wouldn't. Go on. So
the higher status companions, shall we say? Yeah, the Anyway, okay. So you're sitting down for dinner, and William is still there. Obviously, it's, as you know, it's with caps almost they're entitled to good hospitality. It's very good practice to offer it. And while you're there, in comes. Okay, a fellow some of you recognise comes over. Masters, we had a letter delivered today at the warehouse. Hands it over to whoever wants to take it. Okay. I'll get you the link. I'll put it in the. Well, I'll put it in the general chat. Who's ever taken it can actually click the link.
Conrad, how goes life down at the docks?
Oh, well, it's quiet. Can't complain. Yeah. Okay. Some of you could tell he doesn't sound terribly happy. Yeah. It's, as I played it, he doesn't sound terribly happy.
Once we can find more staff to hire, Conrad, we will have you out for that.
Okay, letters in the chat. But whoever accepted it could open it up. So yeah, well, I suppose it's the weather's fair down here. But
any troubles the last couple of weeks?
Minor scuffle with a drunken lout. Nothing to concern yourselves with.
Yeah. That's really difficult writing to read. There's something in ownership of it.
To the partners in ownership of the fledgling company called Far Horizons, I have heard through the grapevine of your recent purchase of the warehouse by the docks. In fact, it has been a topic of much speculation and gossip amongst the business community. I cordially invite you to a small get-together to both alleviate my curiosity and welcome you to our small community. This will include entertainment and a banquet befitting our station as esteemed businessmen. This will be held at my personal residence in Dover. I look forward to hearing back within a day so that I can prepare for your visit. Respectfully yours, Walter Fitzralph of the Vinewood Company. Sorry, I'm good at reading cursive.
Oh, well. And you got that today, Conrad, did you?
That's right. Some message boy dropped it off.
Thank you for bringing it back so quickly. It seems it was rather time sensitive.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to look at this here, saying, I presume you can attend.
Out of character, do I know who this dude is?
No, you don't.
Going to look. Blink. Okay, Friday reached purchase. Topic much speculation, gossip amongst the community. He's rereading the letter. I suppose I'd better, or else I'd make an enemy.
Out of character, Lee, is your tradesman companion ready?
What was that? Sorry.
Is your companion ready? I know he was going to be the tradesman for the company, wasn't he?
Yeah, Nathan might want to answer that.
Not at this time.
Okay, because it would make sense if he would go with Lucian. Lucian.
Yeah.
We could all go.
Out of character, no.
You ruined all my fun. I'd feel weird going by myself. I mean, it would also be very weird because the four of you couldn't do anything if that were the case.
That's why you have companions and grogs go with you. That's the roles we take. That's why we build those types of characters. You wouldn't.
Yes.
I wouldn't.
But we don't have any yet.
Well, I've got a companion, but he certainly wouldn't be welcome in that sort of company.
So I don't want to just be the only person playing. That would really suck.
Yeah. Well,
If it's just a meeting and Nathan doesn't think it's going to take long, I can go do that. But if it's like meant to be a big thing and I'm the only person who attends, that's going to cause a problem. And you guys won't get to do anything, and the rest of the session becomes Solon's private adventure.
If people obviously, if you want to play your Magi, you can. If you want to play like someone like Uhtred or Conrad, at least especially people who've been around them enough, you can certainly play them for the session. Those are established grogs we've got in the game for new players. I mean, equally, obviously, yeah, Guinevere is a noble, so it's not unreasonable. You go, I've brought my noble guest with me. That's entirely reasonable if you want to go. And taking a traveling shipwright to meet a point merchant, that seems reasonable.
Yep.
So he takes the two new mages and Lee and John play Uhtred and Conrad and basically stand by the sidelines and be there in case shit goes real.
If they want to, okay. So shall we? So you've decided to go visit. Okay, shall we say that the next day you make this one arrange to find out where it is and agree a time, and you turn up the next day. Is that right? Is that fair?
yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Hang on. Okay. Can you give me 2 seconds? Because Elaine went out the room briefly. We have
Okay.
to seems like a merchant in Dover because we have a business here. He's invited a new business to come and have drinks, basically.
Okay.
So Nathan's saying that your character, as a noble guest of the house, it would make sense to go along with.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
you're going with the
Just
ship.
essentially, is it him?
No,
Lucius
Lucia.
doesn't want to go by himself.
Yes. So Lucia,
Oh.
Genevieve, and Aldred as Magi will go, and then me and Lee are going to play companions.
For the record, Lucius doesn't have a problem going with like either by himself or with one person. It's more I don't want to monopolize the rest of the session from the other 4 players.
Okay. Okay. So, right. The next day, you dress appropriately, and I assume now. Okay, just to point something out that so dress the middle ages is very socially stratified. You know, people can always tell what social class you are by your dress. So that's why it's important to think about how you're choosing to present. I think you've all got. I know, Elaine, you've got gentle gift, haven't you? So you're fine there. Luke,
Yeah.
what gift have you got?
Standard I have. I don't have gentle.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I've also quiet gift and
No, it's
No.
your magic. But yeah, that's if you cast magic, you don't.
Yeah. Okay. You're not obviously creepy because it's tainted with magic. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you make your way at the appointed hour to the appointed place. Seems to be a very nice townhouse in Dover. Obviously, it's on the sort of part of the city where other merchants live. Looking at the houses, you can You'll also notice as you go to Dover, yes, there is Dover Priory, which is run by black monks. So you may see them around. And you are literally in the great shadow of the great castle. Okay. Servant answers the door, shows you into that's an impressive feast hall. Lee, do you want to describe who they meet?
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Okay.
John, I think we misunderstood the situation.
Okay. Minicam's messing up for me, but anyway, I'll keep going. You meet I just gotta get the picture up here. Yeah. Okay. You meet a obese merchant-looking man. He's in very fancy clothing, and he has two large, kind of large men around that watch out. And he greets you and says, "Hello, welcome to my house."
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. He'll introduce himself accordingly as I think we went with my character is going to introduce himself as Lucius rather than Gareth Taylor.
Yeah.
You might you probably introduce yourself as Lucius of York because you sound like a man from York, so that's an easy way.
That makes sense because that works.
It's also what would happen. People's names are very fluid then.
But anywho, yes, come in. It's a very large townhouse, and he brings you into the hall of the house and seats you all.
He'll introduce the others that came with. Servants getting only a brief introduction. Noble getting more time. Shipwright getting decent time.
What language is everyone speaking? Just out of curiosity.
Latin would be preferred, but if he doesn't understand Latin, he'll speak English and translate into Latin for those who don't speak English.
Fortunately, my English is alright.
I think you took English.
English.
I think you can read it. You can speak and read English.
Yeah.
You speak English free. So.
Three means you can have an everyday conversation without rolling for it, and you can roll if you want to have a technical conversation.
She would have a clear French accent then.
Yes.
I will begin speaking in Norman French as well, and say, "Welcome, madam." Anywho, oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Couldn't hear you.
Thank you for inviting us. I know that the invitation wasn't meant for myself or my companion.
Well, I'm always happy to meet a member of the upper class and a shipwright. That's a very interesting to show up at my door. But anywho, as I said in the letter, I brought you here to speak about on what exactly you're doing. You've been here for I've heard that you bought the warehouse, and you've been here for that was a little while ago now. What kind of business are you involved in?
That's a very good question out of character.
I believe you were into the export business, collecting things in a warehouse and exporting it to France, is what I believe it was. What was the original idea?
Sure.
May I suggest that Gascony wine is always a good import? No, that really was. It made a lot of money.
No, I know.
Okay, sure. He'll
In the English version.
he'll respond. Yes, we have a. We do some importing, exporting, wine, other things. Whatever is profitable.
Oh, wine. Are you associated with anyone? Oh, sorry.
Not good.
Yes, wine is one of my largest imports. I work with a company out of London.
I don't believe we have any official arrangements of that nature. Mostly just buy on consignment.
You're being feast is coming out, and it's like pork and some relatively expensive foods. One moment.
At the sight of pork, I kind of go like, "Oh, this is going to be fun." Very fortunate a certain person wasn't here.
But 1 second. Did you do any research on the business community before you came here?
In character, he would have. Out of character, no, I have not. Sorry, guys.
That's fine.
I started a new job in like 2 weeks ago.
Fine. I'm more thinking you didn't blue book anything to say we're going to. Okay.
Yes. It was something I was concerned about, that you might be trafficking in wine. I'm a little concerned about competition here. You seem to be quite a young company. You really...
Is there any other adventures that you might suggest?
Any what? Sorry.
Any other ventures that you might suggest?
Well, there's plenty of other things like dyes. Dyes are a common thing that come from Calais. Ceramics.
I have heard that English wool is among one of the finest quality.
Yes, from my understanding. We do a bit of exporting, mostly collecting just from the local farm. Like, mostly what we seem to export is wool, but it's not really our major focus. We're actually looking for maybe some people to we're looking for maybe doing more more exporting in the future, to make a little bit more money off it. So do you mainly export wool?
We don't have one specific thing that we import or export currently. It's just many things we're involved in currently.
It tends to be a good idea to try and get your focus down. I worked for a number of years as a courier around here, bringing wool into Dover for transport when I was younger.
It sounds therefore like there might be a gap in the market then. Because your companion here seems to monopolize wine, perhaps the wool trade. And if he has contacts, perhaps this could be the start of a lovely relationship.
Potentially. I'd have to speak with others in my merchanting group, shall we say, but could be done.
Um, there we go. Okay. So the supper goes on, and Walter. Yes. So I do think that. Sorry, one sec. Someone's talking to me. Okay. I do think that it would be best if maybe you try to stay out of wine. Being a new company, it'd be hard to compete with someone like the Vinewood Company. We're officially associated with the Vintners in London.
Okay, Solon, did your account have any relevant organisation laws for London or guilds or things? Or
Absolutely not.
of course.
He was a child when he was last involved in that
That's fine.
market.
Okay, just checking. Background. I'll give you a roll. Obviously, it'd be hard if you don't have any skills in it. Just do a roll with intelligence.
Just a base intelligence roll. Crud. Hold on. Let me get back to the computer. I wasn't expecting to make a roll. Okay, what I got here? What's my intelligence score? A 1. Aha.
Ooh.
I have a bonus.
Just do a roll. Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's not bad.
9. Okay. Yes. Obviously, you grew up in London, so as a son of a merchant, so you know there are 5 main guilds in London. One of them, your dad's in one of them, and one of them is this Vintners Guild he's mentioned. It is the official guild in London which imports wine and supplies the royal court.
Then perhaps we'd better get into the dye market. I might know some. I might have some connections with the Clothiers Guild that could help.
You can probably understand that threatening to start competing with a major London guild is not well. It's quite a bold move.
Don't worry, we'll do it someday. We'll break their guild.
Okay,
but not anytime soon.
So you think you'll move to die then?
Probably.
Anywho, do you have a ship, or are you renting ships, or how are you?
Out of character, it's very unlikely we have our own ship at the moment. I would assume we've been purchasing cargo space, essentially renting off of other ships. That's much more within our budget at the moment.
Yeah.
Owning your own ship's a big deal.
Yeah.
They're not actually that expensive, weirdly.
Huh?
They're not that expensive. It's kind of weird.
No, but we'd still have to invest. We'd still have to invest in the purchase of one, or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Anywho, we have a ship that goes that we bring in most of our stuff on, called the Violet. She travels between Calais and Dover. We might be interested in having a continuous contact to kind of split revenue from trading in exports.
My brain kind of died partway through that. I'm guessing what he's saying is something to the effect of will rent you space in exchange for a cut of the profit.
Yeah.
So pretty standard arrangement. He kind of nods hesitantly, like, well, dependent on details, I'm sure we could arrange something.
Anywho, you seem to have quite the accents. Where exactly are you from? Up north?
I am from York, yes. Or at least I grew up there.
You're awfully far from home.
A bit, yes.
He
He doesn't seem inclined to explain.
I figured. He says that, what had you interested in the mercantile business down here?
Oh, just a change of scenery. I like the weather down here. It's very healthy.
Yes, it's quite moderate compared to some of the places I've been. Anywho, I'm going to. Would you like a tour of the house? I have a room that I like to show off to guests.
Sure.
So he gets up and kind of like starts showing you around. First off, the kitchen and showing you chromatics and all the silver plates and stuff he has, and then he takes you into another room close by, sort of a trophy room of types. It's has several displays, and a lot of them chromatics and silver as well. But a lot of them seem to be of Arabic make, or out of character Arabic make. I don't know if your characters would know.
No. Well, okay. So some of those characters definitely would know. Okay. So for example, you've got like a Saracen style curved blade.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I have a Saracen style curved blade with
which at least one person here would definitely recognise.
Yeah.
He looks fairly impressed.
I got a lot of this stuff while I was in the Holy Land. During the Crusades and a little bit afterwards, I spent some time there. You'll also notice that there's a display with some coins from the Holy Land as well, like from the Emirate there, and just generally just stuff from the Holy Land.
As I'm playing Conrad, is he here in the room?
I would imagine,
Yeah. You're cool. If you're playing combat, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Conrad will go. So, did you fight in the Crusade?
Well, yes, I fought in the Crusade. It was some of my for a little while.
The first place going on at the moment. On the first place that was just in it. It was, if you let me bring up. Yeah,
okay. Conrad looks surprised that you fought in the Crusade. I don't know, he's smirked.
Yeah.
Not much skills to cover that up. So Conrad.
It finished in 1192.
Yeah, so yeah.
Oh, that's 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was about 6 or 7 years ago now. I think.
Actually, how old does your character look, Lee?
My character probably looks close to 30.
Right. Okay. That's vaguely relevant.
But yeah, he Yes. I did spend some time afterwards in the Holy Land as well, but I left largely because of the climate.
All right. Yeah, I'll dinner out the oven.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to spend some time there before the Crusade.
Oh. He says very quickly. He says something in Arabic, which is very strange.
I don't know if I've got it. I haven't finished spending. I've probably got a little bit, but not. It's quite broken.
Okay. Well, this is quite broken as well.
Sorry, I haven't finished spending all my
Yeah, that's fine. It's more of a parlor trick than an actual language for him.
Okay. So the two of them start speaking an extremely strange foreign language that you've probably not heard before. I don't know how anyone else wants to react to this.
God, demons! No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Jeez. They're speaking in tongues.
No, we're speaking like most people do, with tongues.
Well, Aldrid's already fairly twitchy about all this crusade talk, so has merged sort of into the background with the less favoured people.
Smart move.
I will also bring up the fact that my youngest brother was part of King Richard's entourage.
Oh, really?
Out.
That's quite impressive, actually. Have you spoken to him much about the event?
No, he only came back. He spent quite a few years out there afterwards, so he's only relatively recently returned. A few lessons.
Anywho, he continues taking you to another room. It just looks like a small aviary with like finches and other birds like that, like small songbirds. And there is a man in there who appears to be like their tender. He says, and I've also been collecting these.
Blink, blink. They're very feathery.
Are they local songbirds or?
Yes. Mostly local. Yes.
I'm not familiar with most of these species actually.
He says that I don't know a huge amount about them either. It's more of just a hobby to collect them. I do love the noises they make. Anyway, you did introduce yourself as Lucius, right, Solo?
Yes.
Okay. Anywho, so Lucius, you think you're going to be involved in Die, and you'll maybe be able to do this deal we were talking about?
Possibly, yes. Again, I would have to go talk to the others, but possible.
Well, I'm sure I can do a little better of a deal than them, especially if you're getting out of wine. As we are, it would be a lot better to have one person to come to for exports instead of having to go all over the county.
Kind of shrugs in a non-committal, like, yeah, that makes sense, but I'm still going to think it over.
But if you end up agreeing, I can introduce you to some couriers who could help you centralize everything. Anywho, so what do you think of the countryside so far? None of you are from around here, it sounds.
No. I like it, though.
Are you living in town?
No. Some distance outside it. Well, within sight of the castle, though.
Anywho, he turns to the shipwright and says, "Sorry, what you were speaking in? You do have English?
French only, I'm afraid.
French only? Okay. So he'll realize that and he'll speak to you in French.
Okay, incidentally, when he speaks French, it's good French. Yeah, this person's clearly more than fluent in French, or Norman French anyway.
He says, "So you've worked on some ships. Whereabouts are you from exactly?"
I'm from the Rhineland, northern Germany. Yes, I have spoken. I've done quite a bit. I've worked on various ships for my master. I've recently become a journeyman in that area.
That's very good.
Luke,
Yeah.
the city you would have been from is Ludbrek, and
Thank you.
As a trader, he will know that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest trader in the northern waters, basically.
It's probably, I think it's the biggest one in the Baltic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest one it's bigger than London. It supplies London and shit. So.
So yeah, what he said.
He said, Luberg, well, they have quite a reputation for trading and ships. I've never been up that way, but I've definitely heard of them. What kind of ships did you work on? Just trading vessels?
Trading mostly, yes. That they were the favoured ships of the workshop, so that's the kind of most of the skills I developed.
Yes. So are you the shipwright to these people? They said they didn't have a ship, so.
There'd just be a knowing glance, towards Lucius mostly, but everyone in general, you know. But it's certainly something that could be discussed. I've just arrived the Genevieve off of from the Channel, and I'm passing through Dover at the moment. But can certainly be persuaded to stay.
Well, if you end up staying in Dover, I'd definitely be interested in maybe showing you the Violet, seeing what you think of her when she stops in the port.
Oh, excellent! I do love examining a lovely ships. They are. They're not just made to be used. You see, they're made to be. You know. They're exquisite pieces of art by themselves.
Yes, I was when I went to the Crusade. Obviously, I was on the ship for quite a while, so they're certainly interesting things.
They each have their own personalities.
Yeah, so the one I was on liked to moan quite a lot.
Blink. You're having that conversation in French, so all you get is blink. I only have 1 point in that language.
Anyway, he definitely seems pleased that you guys seem to be interested in getting over wine.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Utterly unrelated note. We need to grow a vineyard and we need to plant something in it.
Yeah.
Being able to grow wine in England would actually be really, really.
Okay, let's keep it counted, guys. Have you got anything else to discuss with this merchant, or is that it for the scene?
I think he's learned a lot that he wants to relay to the party.
Okay, well, we could do a scene cut to you get back to the Covenant.
Yep.
Okay, so if everyone's finished.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless someone's, yeah.
No one wants to cast anything or do anything untoward. Fine. Right. Okay. Right. Scene cut. Shall we say you get back late that night, or do you want to talk the next day at the Covenant?
He'd show up late that night and be like, "So."
Okay. So back at the Covenant. So you can all play your Magi again.
Yep.
Yeah. Fine. You to play on yourselves. I don't need to be there. Carry on. You're back in the Covenant. Back in the council chamber.
Micah, Pride Eye.
What's going on?
Oh, well, so I figured out why we got the invitation.
Go on.
Apparently, he's a very important local merchant who wanted to make it very clear that going into business as those interested in exporting or importing or doing anything to do with wine would be bad for us.
Okay.
So we need to plant a vineyard.
Certainly.
You seem to have quite a contrary attitude, I must say.
Well, you see, we have this thing we were going to use. I think we should use it.
For a vineyard.
I mean, it's not easy to grow grapes here, I thought. This would be very good for us. Could very well corner the market.
You really think you can grow better grapes than socks?
Absolutely.
With a
They would
berry
be the
chocolate,
finest grapes you've ever had.
probably.
I have high confidence in our ability to grow precisely one large field of grapes. Other ones, probably not.
I have. Genevieve, do you know anybody? Do you know any mundane, back in France that would be interested in starting a new life in England that know about growing grapes?
Get hold of it.
I can't hear you, by the way. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I could probably get hold of one or two. Maybe younger without too much experience, but
Hey, they probably know more than us combined. Looking at the three English Magi.
Exactly.
I will say without any kind of expression on face, of that I do not doubt. But they will have to be probably slightly mad.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, guys, I got the hiccups.
So they'll fit right in. Other than that, the merchant is apparently something of a well, apparently he fought in the Crusades, and he has quite a collection of Arabic memorabilia. Coins, swords, general loot.
I would love to know how close he actually got to the battle line.
Given his size,
I'd say 2,000 or 3,000 miles.
he may well have traveled down there. I just highly doubt he got involved in the actual fighting.
No.
Apart from, sorry, Lucius, you've lost me. Apart from suggesting that you start growing grapes in England, did you have anything else of interest?
I would like to point out that he did not suggest that at all.
Oh, no. He actually said it would be very bad for us to get into the grape business.
Yeah. I suggested that perhaps you'd be looking more towards wool.
And dyes and such. He was very insistent that we should turn to dyes.
It would potentially make your lives a little bit
We could
confrontational with the local Monday.
Then we can do our usual strategy. We get into dyes. I send a letter to my father. We make some arrangements, turn a decent profit, and while that's going on, we plant the vineyard.
That is the best.
Sorry, go ahead. I couldn't hear that.
Micah just sits there with a smile and just shakes his head.
So I would like to point out that if he has you do not own your own ships, yeah?
Yet.
No.
So if this gentleman knows a lot of the merchants around here and a lot of the sea captains and is on good terms with them, if you crossed him, he could either no one will actually sail for you or it will cost you a lot more.
We have a few contacts as well. Looks over towards Micah. We know people who have boats.
Who would they rather work for though?
No.
Merchant house or a new?
In this particular case, I think their loyalties would be a bit more towards Micah, but I don't know how deeply those connections run. At the very least, I would assume the covenant in question could put us in touch with a reliable shipbuilding agency. If we were to build our own, no one could argue. And we have a shipbuilder. Well, I speak too quickly. Would you be interested in building a ship?
That's just a big grin and arched face, was, I'd be delighted to build a ship. It'd be an excellent ship. The most marvellous ship you've ever seen.
Well, I'm sure Aldred could build you the best, the fastest ship you could possibly imagine. Who will you get through it?
To be fair, I'm not sure if I could do it as well as he could imagine. The whistler in the air, but most people, yes.
As for a crew, we might be able to pull a few strings in that department as well. I mean, oh come on, how hard can it be to sail a ship? This from the character who has only briefly been on a boat.
Might I suggest he will seem like a very genial rival for now. It may be best not to provoke him. As,
That's why we go with the dive. Sorry, go ahead.
He may have knowledge and contacts that could be of use to you.
Then we should just be involved with the dyes for now, and we can make a deal with him. But I still think we should eventually plant vineyards, build our own ship, and cut them out of the market.
It would certainly be interesting to see grapes growing like that up here.
If nothing else, we could just see the look on his face when we offer him fine Dover wine.
Doesn't have the same green stripe. Even I know that.
But why the insistence on wine? Beer is clearly superior.
Get out! No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, you no longer have a say in this.
Having a vineyard will raise a lot of suspicions with the locals, though.
If we could grow it quietly, I don't know.
Well, grapes typically don't make much noise. Even heathens like me know that.
See, I like the way this man thinks. We can always hide it.
If I could postulate a different idea, if you are set on having a vineyard, does it have to be on this side of the channel?
She has a point.
I found she usually does, yes.
I wouldn't want it in the lands of Normandy, tribunal.
Gascony is known for its. The further south you go, the better the climate is, and the better it's for the wine.
I still think the wine
Until
you'd
you
make
get
here.
to Spain, and then.
You have a point.
Luke, as a character, do you have any area law for the Rhine?
For the Rhine?
Yeah, or Luke. Luke, but yeah, area law Rhine, Germany.
1 second. Yeah, I believe I do. I've just forgotten where I put my character sheet. Which tab?
You've got level 1 in it.
Thank you. There it is.
Nathan, it's up to you if he would know this, or you can call a roll or whatever. But what the Autumn Covenant that stands against Dunmar, that in the sort of, it's the nearest one to Ludbrek, south. They are on a hill fort, and they have great, fantastic vineyards because a Viditius manages them. He's a wine grower on the side of this hill, and he makes fantastic wine. So you might be aware of that.
Given it's your home tribunal and your own house, I'm happy to say you've heard about that. Yes.
Cool.
Okay. I will begrudgingly state that, mostly because it's my house. And because it's not beer, it's wine, but it's really good wine. I mean, what can one say?
Good if it hasn't turned you from beer.
I just don't like the taste. Everyone says it's good, but it's still wine. It can't be anything else. Well, I suppose it could, but they've not done that.
A speculative look goes onto Lucius's face when you say wine can't be anything but wine. But with enough feast.
Okay. So, Lucius, are you okay to work with the company to steer it away from the wine towards this dye business? Do you understand?
Yes. I'm sure he'll practically hand us a slight profit just to get us off of his scent. But, and if I can make a contact with my father on that front, we should be able to secure at least somewhat favorable deal. He'll probably be happy to know I'm involved in the business in some capacity or another. But
Have you made contact with your father since you got here? We're not too far away from London now compared to what we used to be.
I have not, but I will. Actually, I don't think I did, but I will do so. I might even make a trip there at some point, briefly. Perhaps it would be better to speak of this in person to him rather than send a letter. But regarding the whole wine thing, just to clarify, we're on board that we don't want to try creating this particular vineyard in Normandy.
No.
Yet you don't want to create it here because it would draw attention. I personally think we could just say we're really good at it. Whenever someone says, but we can't grow grapes in England, just be like, well, I guess you aren't doing it right. But if that's not acceptable, then... Sorry, go ahead.
You gentlemen don't make friends. You gentlemen don't make friends easily, do you?
I can't. I got part of that. It was muffled.
Sorry, I'm saying you gentlemen don't make allies easily.
Actually, we have quite a few. Just not that many that are human, I suppose.
You'll get a very sharp look from Aldred on that one. More curious than anything else.
I suppose I could have phrased that better.
Solid. Have a perception roll. Perception awareness.
Little William is taking notes.
I'm assuming he's not here, but yeah. Okay, Solid, have a perception roll.
Okay, hold on. How do I do that again? 1 second.
Well
That's
done.
straight perception.
Awareness.
I do have a point in awareness, so I will roll 1d10 plus 1 because my perception's a 0. 1d10 plus 1. Ooh, I got a 1. I got a 1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why is just don't do the plus thing? 'Cause it's,
I rolled 1. No, I got a 2 this time.
you got 1 followed by 2, so that's 4.
Plus my original 1, so 5.
Plus awareness, plus. Oh, you don't have any plus. Okay, it's just 5. 5. Forget this 5.
5,
Okay,
yeah.
guys.
You see nothing.
I feel like get better spot check.
Yeah, rolling a crit and then rolling a 2 is like the worst thing.
I know.
Yeah, the dice mechanics are just very outdated. Okay. Lucius, if you want to do the vineyard, I'm not going to oppose it. But like I said, I just think that it lacks subtlety.
So Ash, one quick question: did you want to invite Little William into this meeting while you're here?
It's up
You
to the
wouldn't
others.
invite him in if you would have asked. I wouldn't reject it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to find him to invite him in.
Okay. Or you look well. Invite by a strong word. Yeah, you could. Okay, you can let him know the Magi are having a meeting. If you want to join us, you are more than welcome. It's kind of invite.
Yep.
Hi.
So is he here?
Yeah, we'll assume he joined you at this point then.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that, he'll look over at Micah and just say, "Well, I think we could survive that. But if you and Friedrich are against it, then I will I will agree to disagree and not do it. It's not like I was the only person to get it. It's as much your say as mine."
Try. You have the deciding vote.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested in seeing what wine from up here would taste like, but I don't really want to get.
Excellent. Let's do it.
But I don't really want to get involved with a rich merchant.
Well, we can do that later. It's going to take time to set up a field and get seed and do everything else anyways.
Well, if Genevieve does know a few young
I will.
whiners, perhaps.
I will write to my brother-in-law to see if he has anyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Sedalis, have you told your guests about the tribunal, or would you like me to fill in any blanks?
There's a tribunal? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, continue.
Well, there will be in a year or two. Strange about that.
Do you care to be told the things to the tribunal?
Wow. I mean, so where to start? How much do you two know already?
We set off the boat yesterday.
Okay. Well, let's see. So, Stonehenge Tribunal, which covers England and Wales. Scotland is the Loch Lomond Tribunal. Not been up that one myself. As I said, there's, I don't know, what, how was it, half a dozen covenants or so? The oldest is Cad Cadw. That's in the North Wales mountains region, very hard to get to. It's where Imola, the head of House Ex Miscellanea, lives. The famed prophetess. Very old. It's a very old covenant, and you know how old covenants can get. Little eccentric. But the two main covenants are Voluntas, which I believe you are Sardanas here are from in the north, and Blackthorn in the south of Wales, also in the mountains. That's a covenant mostly held by House Tremere and Tatalus and Flambeau. It's where the Prachiel, the oldest magus of the covenant, lives. Voluntas and Blackthorn have had some disagreements, I understand. Is that fair?
A few.
Blackthorn is also where the oldest Quesitor of the Tribunal lives, but I believe Scholar Pythagoras also have their own Quesitor, should you have need of one. And then there is Cementi, as I mentioned, the Cremon Covenant, and there's a couple of others. Well, I mean, we're all Magi here. How would you sum up the politics of the Tribunal? Anyone?
I would say that it's two sides bickering with one another constantly.
So, obviously, Blackthorn have both the Brachio and the Older Quesitor, so you can imagine they were certainly the power in the Tribunal. And up in the north, you've had Voluntas, who have been opposing that. I've heard about the oath of Voluntas. I'm sure you all can speak better than I can about that.
It may not surprise Genevieve, but during this entire conversation, yeah, let's just say that Lucius looks bored.
So, all right, it's good. It's good for you to know the lie of the land in case you're going to be meeting people here. You don't want to end up allying with people, not realizing the consequences of your actions. That said, not making allies on either side may not be a prudent move either. So I met what was his name? I met the Archmagus of House Quesitor. What was his name? I didn't speak to him very much. He came through the portal a few years ago. Tiberius, possibly. Anyway, so yeah, there was, as you'll probably know, he's speaking to Luke's character from being German. There was the Grand Tribunal at Duramar. What have we been now? 6 years ago or so, and Stonehenge was meant to have a tribunal to send through representatives to represent Stonehenge at the Grand Tribunal, and the tribunal failed to meet. As in, people refused to turn up to the meeting in Blackthorn, which meant no one got sent, which was, I think, of some concern. So they sent a Quesitor to find out what on earth was going on. So the tribunals are every 7 years, so it should be in a year or two we'll be having the next tribunal here in Stonehenge. Also due to be hosted by Blackthorn, so I don't know whether people will turn up to this one or not. But that's rather the political state of the tribunal. We don't really have tribunal meetings of late, which means it's very hard to hold people to account.
So you said it's being hosted in Wales by Blackthorn?
Well, it's traditionally the tribunal meetings are held in the home covenant of the Brachio,
Okay.
which is Blackthorn. Blackthorn is a.
They managed to get a ruling that the House X Miscellanea didn't qualify because they were mad.
I'm sorry, repeat. I heard House X Miscellanea are the best.
Yeah. Yes. So by rights, Imola is the oldest Maga of the Covenant. The Brachio, she should be Brachio, but the Blackthorn managed to pass a vote to get it stripped from her on the basis she was not mentally fit.
Those bastards.
Or possibly in Twilight. I'm not quite sure. So
the Brachio and the Chief Quesitor of the Tribunal now both reside in Blackthorn. They have done for some time.
I take it from the tone you're not a huge fan of this.
Honestly, we've been involved in it from when we were apprentices. Voluntas politically turned against Blackthorn, and we get used to form. So,
To be entirely fair, would it not be fair to say that As apprentices, our interactions with Blackthorn have been remarkably lukewarm.
We've never had an issue with them. We've met. Well, have you ever learned the Maga's name? By the way,
He'll describe. He's going to look at the red cap and be like, "Maybe you know her name."
Oh, yeah, that sounds like Bormax, I think, or something like that. She's a young Tremere of Blackthorn. Probably not much older than yourselves.
I wonder if she's picked the Covenant yet. I'm sorry, he did say that. I apologize.
I don't think Julie would appreciate that. I can imagine any support from Voluntas would quickly dry up at that point.
Oh, you're probably right. Maybe in 10 or 20 years.
So, if this one covenant has so much power here, what are they doing with it?
Lording it over the rest of us? Isn't that what Hermetics always do?
How much have you heard of House Tremere?
Not a huge amount, I must say.
Well, Satalis, perhaps you could explain.
They are at the end of the day in military hierarchy. They believe in order, discipline, and chain of command. So, guess what? They have command. They are the authority here, so they expect others to follow their orders. And that's Julia Voluntas challenged that a couple of decades ago. She began to challenge it. It's why Micah glances over at Genevieve. Maximianus came to Stonehenge. He founded a covenant to support Julia. They've known, as far as we can tell, they've known each other for a long time. Allies with one another. So he is still far his senior, but.
So what is it they wanted it to do?
They,
pay tithes or give them things, do things for them? I mean,
They just want control, I think.
They saw themselves as leaders of the tribunal, so obviously they made decisions and expected others to obey them. I don't think nothing was illegal or anything like that. They just, Hermetics generally chafe under such strict regimes. Only House Tremere really
Tolerate?
No, it actually blossoms in it. It somehow works for them, but I don't know.
I was going to say it sounded very structured for Hermetics in general.
That's House Tremere all over though. So.
I can understand why their approach wouldn't be popular.
Truth be told, probably goes all the way back to the Schism War. House Tremere and Totalis defeated the House today that held this land, and then they claimed it by right of conquest. From their point of view, that's the legitimacy. They fought and bled for this land. They've taken it, much like the Normans.
I was going to say it sounded very, very familiar.
The history books say that House Tremere lost the most in the Schism War. They were on the front lines more than House Flambeau or House Vitalis. Members of my house actually did work under House Tremere. They were no strategists in the war. So that has left a legacy in House Flambeau.
So, as I say, Scholar Pythagoras are mostly not interested in politics, from what I can tell. Most of them are Yerbaton. But they've got a very strange new covenant. They're trying to live inside a city, inside a university, among the mundanes. So, you're hidden in plain sight rather than hidden in the wilderness.
Luke?
Yep.
Your character won't find that strange at all because your covenant lives inside a city.
Yeah.
So
Vedus.
that would be quite normal to you.
Yeah. Um, so. And yes, I'm sure Julia's planning some great scheme to change the balance of power, but I don't know. So the next tribunal, I think, will be in. What do I think? She's doing maths in his head. Yes, it should be announced in 1200 for 1201. I think that's right. He's not sure of his maths.
That's 3 years, I believe, is it?
1200, I think. Yeah. Well, it all got a bit out of sync. You see, we should have had. Yeah, it's because of the way the tribunal's made every 7 years, but there was a conflict with the Grand Tribunal been every 33 years. So the numbers got a bit out of sequence. It makes my head hurt. Anyway, so yeah, I think it should be announced in 1200 at least. So yeah, not long.
We'll see what we see. Micah is certainly not thrilled by the idea.
I imagine we'll get letters from Julia around the time.
Yeah, perhaps. Micah will probably say his goodnight to Micaiah then, because you guys came back quite late anyway. So
Okay.
there's nothing else to retire.
Probably gonna do-
Will excuse yourself.
Okay, is that a good place to leave for the day?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. I'll end the broadcast. Then we can say chatting. Okay, so thank you, players. This has been our first session of season 2, just introducing new characters and fleshing out the lie of the land. And we'll call it a day there.
I'll be right back.